Did you have a good day? Let's not do that. Not do that. No, not do that. Oh! Right. Love you, buddy. I'll see you in the morning, okay? We can use this blankie. There. Love you, buddy.
I know, but more time to find a dress.
Oh. Perfect. I'm only gonna do like 45 minutes, I think. I'm Walter Summers. I work in sponsorship at Garmin. I work with our pro cyclists and our pro triathletes, and it's really fun. You know, we have a really good bunch of athletes, and get out on the ground and link up with them anytime I can to let them show me how much of a not pro I am. So it's fun, humbling, and very fun, but I really enjoy it. Yeah, I got into it when I was racing at when I was attending KU. I had a freak accident, did some rehab. I was originally a runner. It was my first endurance sport, and I needed a way to rehab, so I started riding bikes. Fell in love with it. I think it was one of those things, anyone that's, been young and trying to find themselves, you go through these highs and lows of struggling and, needing money. And, the bike for me initially, it was all in my control. I could control all of it. When I was out on the bike, I control how fast I was going, what my efforts were. So, that's really kind of how it started. And I think for every endurance athlete, be it a cyclist or a runner or whatever it is, I think, why you do that sport kind of evolves, and it's definitely evolved for me. So it was a control thing for sure at first. And then, as I kept riding, I was starting to learn things about myself, and I was like, oh man, there's something to the cycling. You get disappointed, and you quit races, and then you're like, oh, why did I do this? Why did I do that? And then, yeah, as you kind of go on, you're like, wow, there's so many life lessons tied up. I think with all things that people have passions in, you find little things that keep you ticking. But I think I ride now because once you lock into something and you commit to something, you just keep doing it. I guess as a dad, I just want to tell my kids, don't quit. Mm-hmm. Commit to something, just keep doing it. So maybe it's just a story I tell myself, because when I'm out there in the race and I want to quit, I'm just like, dude, you can't quit because your kids are here, they're banking on you, So I don't know, maybe being that figure is maybe a little bit of pressure for myself, pressure that I've created for myself. I like to think that it's healthy pressure, if there's such a thing, but yeah, I feel like I'm leaning on them, hopefully, they're maybe going to be, using that one day to go, yeah, I started this thing and I should finish it no matter how shitty it is. Really, anything on two wheels, I love, really hard, nasty, crits, 1 hour where it's just, full volume, just crazy efforts where it seems like, there's no point where it lets up, and every moment of the race you feel like you're going to crack, and then eventually the finish line gets her. So yeah, really fast, road racing was kind of where I started. And then cyclocross was a big part of the early days in racing. I raced for the University of Kansas, and a big part of our season was cyclocross because, you could knock out so many races, in one day. But then, as life progressed, I found, the longer races, triathlon is actually something that I kind of dabbled in for a while. And really, that's kind of where my passion for cycling kind of started to flourish more, because I was, living out in Colorado, riding through the mountains and stuff. And I was like, I should lean into this. And luckily, gravel kind of hit the scene. And then, it's almost like all she wrote, when it came to that stuff. It was, all of the biggest, longest races. So, Unbound obviously is, the most well-known, gravel race in the world. So I've done that a few times, and then some of your bigger XC races like Leadville, and really any of the lifetime events now is kind of where I've really kind of put myself for a while. But I still dabble in the short stuff. It's really fun. Rubbing elbows with people in race is super super cool. But that long stuff is when you learn stuff about yourself. I want to say it's tough as much as I don't want to say it's tough. I think it all boils down to, how much you really want to race and how much you want to ride. People ask me all the time, like, what do you identify with? What do you associate with? And first and foremost, I'm a dad and I'm a husband. But then it's like, and I ride bikes too, of course. I like to ride. So when it comes to managing that, it's like, okay, kids get off of school, dad gets off work. It's like, I can't reasonably ride my bike after work, because I gotta be with my kids. And it's not that I gotta be, like, I want to be, with my kids. So it's doing stuff at wee hours of the morning and late at night, and it can be done, and then obviously I try to take a Saturday or Sunday. I'll try to go early in the morning and try to be home by 10 or 11, hit it for a late breakfast, maybe an early lunch. But other than that, I try to do all of my training, when I'm hopefully not sacrificing time with the family. It used to be a little bit of a dance, but ever since Garmin's acquisition of Tacx and like getting a Neo 2T, like getting a trainer, as someone who like kind of begrudgingly rode the trainer, I think that's a pretty common theme. I think most people will say, oh, I don't like riding with the trainer. I like to, be outside. Of course, I'd rather ride outside, at least until I got my Neo 2T, and then it was definitely made my life more manageable with regards to being a dad, being a husband, and being a racer, because I could say goodnight to my kids and go straight downstairs and get on my trainer and have this like really immersive experience and this really really structured like coach like application for like getting like really good workouts in. Like I would argue that I'm twice the rider I am today than I was when I was 20 and racing bikes at KU, just because there is structure now, and before it was just like I'd go out and ride as hard as I could, but now there's like some meaning to the chaos. As much as I'd love to put in like a 15 or a 20-hour week on the bike, it's just not feasible. I can't wake up 3 hours before the kids need to get ready, and I can't stay up till midnight every night if I want to perform well at work. So making sure I'm getting really good quality over quantity is key. And the great thing about the Neo TT is its versatility. Like I can use it on any platform, so I can go down and pick a structured workout, or I can get my my training plan from Garmin Connect, and it just does it for me. Like I don't even need to think about it. So I'm not spending 20 minutes putting on clothes and charging my lights and getting out on the road and in the morning at 5 a.m. or even more importantly, like out on the road at like 9-10 o'clock at night, when people have been drinking and stuff like that. It's just, I do love riding at night, but you're playing a game with statistics if you ride every night at 9 or 10 o'clock, and there's no game with statistics when I do that indoors, except with regards to like my FTP going up. So it's a double-edged sword, because sometimes between us, I'll be in the middle of an FTP, workout or an interval, and I'm so thankful that I hit a stoplight. Whereas when I'm down on my Neo 2T, dude, it just keeps me honest. Like no matter how bad I want to stop, I can shift my gears as much as I want. But when it's in erg mode, it's like, nope, you're doing 277 watts for the next 10 minutes, no matter how much you shift and no matter how much you want to brake. And it's just like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can handle this. But you get through the workout and you're like, wow, honestly, would I have done that if I was outside? Like probably not. That's the great thing about all the workouts, is you learn things and you do things that you would otherwise never do outdoors. Like you wouldn't unclip one leg and pedal your bike outside. Like, are you crazy? But on a trainer, yeah, let's go for it. It's safe. Yeah. The sound on the Neo 2T is, well, it's non-existent. As far as trainers go, I've had multiple trainers. Obviously, I do work at Garmin, so I'm kind of a little bit partial to it, so you can kind of take it with a grain of salt, but also, you know, it's no lie, you know, just listen to one of those trainers, you know, get on it. They're so quiet. That's part of like my bonding experience with my wife. Typically when kids go to bed, you know, you get to hang out with your wife, and obviously I don't ride my trainer every single night, so the nights where I don't ride, you know, I'm hanging out with her. But even when I do, because the trainer's so quiet, we actually, you know, hang out and she watches TV while I ride in the trainer, like in the same room, and we can talk to each other, and it kind of feels like we're still, you know, kind of sharing that moment. So it's cool. And, you know, then I have to get off and shower off, and then I get to actually join her on the sofa and watch it. But, you know, even when I am training and doing those intervals or, you know, doing a spin or something, I definitely feel like I'm kind of still with her. And it's only possible because of the quietness of the Neo 2T. You know, with all my other trainers I've ever owned, it's like I'm, you know, confined to the basement, and then the rest of the house is like elsewhere because it's like squeaking and just making, you know, heinous noises. But yeah, Neo 2T is very quiet, very quiet. The really cool thing about the Neo 2T and kind of how, you know, my life's evolved from, you know, racing, dare I say, full time to kind of where it's come now is I think for a lot of people they think it boils down to, you know, it being one or the other. And, you know, being a dad and a husband or being a racer, you know, it's not, you know, a decision you have to make. You can do both, because if, you know, if it was a decision for me, you know, if someone asked me today, do you want to be a dad and a husband, or do you want to be a bike racer? It's like, yeah, I'd quit bike racing immediately, and because I'm a dad and husband before I'm anything else. Like that's the thing that I hold the most pride and joy in, is being a dad and a husband. But it's doesn't have to be a decision. You know, you can do both. You know, if you're willing to put in a little extra time, get up an hour earlier and stay up a little later, like not a big deal. You can get those really good workouts in, and you can be a competitor. Or if it's just about staying in shape and, you know, whatever it is that kind of, you know, makes you tick. For me, I want to be fast. I hold value in being fast, and the Neo 2 makes that possible, and I still get to be dad and, you know, husband when I come home from work.